Welcome to Hellcat's King of the Hill podcast.
Hmm.
You know, it's wild to think about, but when you suffer a really profound loss...
Oh, yeah, like a toxic breakup or just some massive life shift.
Exactly. Or any kind of severed tie, really. When that happens, your brain basically has to become an architect on the fly.
Right, it goes into total survival mode.
It does. It has to rapidly build this psychological structure to just house your grief, process the change, and somehow figure out a way to survive the new reality.
Which is incredibly hard work.
It really is. And today, we are looking at how 3 distinct AI musicians engineered completely different emotional survival spaces to do exactly that.
I am so excited for this one.
Me too. We are pulling directly from the episode 14 master source document from the latest AI music community competition, and we are counting down the top 3 winning tracks in reverse order.
It's honestly a remarkable collection of work. What we are seeing in this competition, well, it goes way beyond just generating a catchy melody. We are looking at artists treating the AI generation engine with this deep, rigorous respect. They are using it to construct really intricate emotional landscapes.
And that perfectly sets up the overarching thesis anchoring our deep dive today. We are examining these 3 tracks through a specific lens provided right in the source document.
The whole psychedelic architecture concept.
Yes. The theme is psychedelic architecture, the anatomy of departure and transcendence. And the wild thing is, all 3 of these artists use the exact same AI engine.
Right.
But they built entirely different psychological architectures to handle the act of moving on. Okay, let's unpack this, starting with our 3rd place winner.
Let's do it.
Coming in with a score of 81.5 out of 100, we have a track called Venom in the Violet by Trippy Trek.
Right. And if we're thinking in terms of architecture, Trippy Trek's approach is definitely the most earthbound, organic structure on the entire podium.
Yeah, it feels very grounded.
Exactly. They didn't build a spaceship to flee the problem, and they didn't build some digital fortress either. They cultivated a highly defensive natural ecosystem to just actively reject toxic energy.
It is an incredibly vivid sonic environment. Let's actually look at the style prompts they fed into the AI to achieve this.
The tags are super interesting.
They really are. They use tags like psychedelic rap rock, spoken word rap, and boom bap. Now, it's kind of weird though, right?
How so?
Well, they are dealing with a toxic individual, right? Someone who brought a lot of pain into their life. And they are using this boom bap rhythm, which is just so heavy, so deliberate, to tell this person to get lost.
Yeah, you'd almost expect something faster.
Right. Like, why not use something aggressive, like death metal or maybe some frantic punk to express that rejection? So what does this all mean for how they use that specific boom bap rhythm to physically anchor such a scathing poetic dismissal?
What's fascinating here is how the production functions not just as a background beat, but as a spiteful victory lap.
Oh, a spiteful victory lap. I love that phrasing.
It really is. Because when you feed the AI a prompt like boom bap, you are asking it to retrieve very specific sonic characteristics from its training data.
Right, the physical weight of it.
Exactly. Boom bap relies on a heavy, unquantized kick drum and this really snapping snare. It has literal physical weight. It anchors you, the listener, right to the floor.
Wow. Yeah.
So by choosing that grounded, repetitive, undeniably confident rhythm, Trippy Trek is telling the AI to build a sonic environment of total security.
So they aren't frantic or reactive at all. The rhythm itself proves they're completely unbothered.
Precisely. The AI processes those text tokens and synthesizes an audio track that doesn't waver, just like the artist's resolve doesn't waver.
That makes so much sense, because if they had used death metal, it would almost imply the toxic person still had the power to make them chaotic or angry.
Exactly. This boom bap foundation, paired with the spoken word rap, creates this swaggering, earthy rhythm. It forces a slow, deliberate pace.
Right. They aren't running away from the toxic person. They are firmly planting their feet and just watching that person unravel.
And the lyrics absolutely reinforce that. Trippy Trek uses nature imagery as a literal weapon here.
Oh, the lyrics are incredible. There is this brilliant contrast between the artist's flourishing life and the enemy's self-inflicted destruction.
The blooming lotus line, right?
Yes. Quote, "In blooming like a lotus soaking up the fresh rain," end quote. While the toxic individual is essentially just drowning in a puddle of their own toxicity.
It is a brilliant inversion of how psychedelia is normally used, honestly.
What do you mean by that?
Well, typically psychedelic music and imagery are all about ego death. expanding outward, dissolving boundaries, and kind of melting into the cosmos.
Right, like becoming one with the universe.
Exactly. But Trippy Trek takes that psychedelic aesthetic and uses it to draw a very hard, organic, impenetrable boundary.
That is so true. And the lyrical spite is just incredibly poetic. There's another line from the source document that perfectly captures this dynamic.
Let's hear it.
Quote, "You drank the arsenic thinking it would poison my cup in sipping tea while you were throwing it up."
That is just phenomenal writing.
It really is. It makes me think of a very specific visual. The structure of this track feels exactly like a walled botanical garden.
Oh, I can totally see that.
Right. Like the artist, Trippy Trek, has cultivated this lush, thriving, beautiful space. But the toxic person didn't just get kicked out, they locked themselves out by trying to bring poison into the soil.
Yep, they played themselves.
Exactly. And now the artist is just sitting on a bench inside, sipping tea, perfectly safe, while the toxic person destroys themselves against the brick wall outside.
That analogy hits the nail on the head. The AI's generation of that grounded rap rock beat perfectly supports the imagery of someone sitting comfortably in their garden.
Just totally indifferent to the chaos outside.
It really is a masterpiece of boundary setting.
But sometimes a toxic departure makes the real world just too painful to inhabit, even if you manage to build a walled garden.
Oh, for sure. The garden isn't always enough.
Right. Sometimes you need a completely different architecture to survive the shift. And that brings us to our second place track, and a massive pivot in our countdown.
I am so ready for this one.
Scoring a massive 90.7 out of 100, we have BLAZEWAVE by Crow.
This is such a massive thematic shift. If Trippy Trek built an organic wall, Crow basically engineered a hyper-digital portal.
Yeah, we are definitely moving from the Earth to the cosmos here.
From the physical to the simulated.
And the prompt architecture Crow used to achieve this shift is staggering. It is an exhaustive list.
Listen to these tags.
They really threw the kitchen sink at it.
They did. psy-trap, Cosmic Club, Digital Funk, 808s, Laser Synths, Glitch FX, AD, stereo separation, stereo split, panning.
It's just micromanagement on a whole new level.
Right. They are essentially micromanaging the spatial geometry of the sound. But I have to ask, how does the AI even process a prompt like AD or stereo separation? It's not just making the music loud, right?
Oh, not at all. It requires a highly sophisticated understanding of how the AI interprets spatial audio processing.
Okay, break that down for us. When Crow inputs tags like AD, stereo separation, and panning, they are instructing the AI's neural network to actually manipulate the phase and amplitude of the audio signals.
Wow. So it's doing complex math behind the scenes.
Exactly. The AI is calculating acoustic reflections to simulate physical space. It actively places different sonic elements, like those glitch effects and laser synths, in distinct, moving locations around your head.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Crow isn't just trying to make a complex club banger here.
No, not at all.
They are utilizing this hypersensory spatial audio to simulate an actual cosmic club. When you put headphones on and listen to this track, the AI is literally spinning the synths around your skull.
It simulates the physical sensation of reality, fundamentally glitching out.
Which is exactly what a profound loss feels like, doesn't it?
It really does. Crow's psychological architecture for departure isn't about setting a boundary in the physical world at all. It's about hacking reality to escape linear time entirely.
The lyrics merge drug culture with matrix-like simulation theory in such a visceral way. Quote, "Smoke spins like sacred math, every beat a wormhole path."
I love that wormhole visual.
It's so evocative, and my absolute favorite line, "This ain't a club, it's a portal door." They are telling you explicitly that this intense hypercore stimulation is not for partying or mindless escapism.
Right. It is an ontological hacking mechanism.
Oh, what? Ontological hacking?
Yeah, think about the anatomy of departure for a second.
Sure.
When you lose someone or a massive shift occurs, time becomes the enemy.
Oh, absolutely. The days just drag on.
Exactly. The most painful aspect of loss is the linear progression of time. It's that acute awareness that yesterday they were here and today they're gone.
That is heartbreakingly true.
The lyrics in BLAZEWAVE describe reality as a loop and the dance floor as a place where the walls of that reality basically just turn to thread.
So they are trying to step out of the timeline altogether.
Exactly. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Crow is using this meticulously constructed, disorienting sonic temple to step outside of standard human perception.
It's like they're overriding their own nervous system.
That's a great way to put it. Look at the philosophy embedded in the outro of the track. The massive 808 beats begin to decay, the digital funk dissolves into static, and we are left with this fading, ethereal vocal.
I have the quote right here. I don't dance to forget. I dance to remember.
It gives me chills every time.
It completely flips the script on the entire club genre. The standard trope is that you go to a hyper-stimulated environment to numb out, right? To forget your pain, to drown out the memory of the person who left.
Right, the whole dancing with tears in my eyes vibe.
Exactly. But Crow is stating the exact opposite. They are using this overwhelming hypercore stimulation, this BLAZEWAVE, to achieve a state of heightened awareness.
It's a completely different approach to the architecture.
They are accessing a different dimension where the loss doesn't carry the same crushing linear weight. It allows them to actually hold on to the memory without being destroyed by it.
It is an incredibly sophisticated utilization of generative AI. Crow demanded a highly complex, geometrically precise soundscape, not to create random chaos, but to engineer a very specific type of transcendence.
They basically built a digital, neon-drenched escape pod.
They really did.
It is brilliant, and the sheer volume of technical prompts they used to construct that escape pod is mind-blowing. But I think that brings us to the climax of our deep dive.
The King of the Hill.
The King of the Hill. First place, taking the crown with an almost perfect score of 97.2 out of 100. Once Upon a Time by Duni.
And this is where the thematic and technical contrasts of this whole deep dive become truly breathtaking.
It's a total 180.
It is. We are moving from the micromanaged digital labyrinth of Crow to a landscape of radical, expansive simplicity.
It really is a shock to look at the source document for this track. We just discussed Crow's massive, hyper-engineered paragraph of prompts.
Right, all the ED and stereo separation tags.
Yeah. And then you look at Duni, and they secured first place using astonishing structural restraint. They used exactly 3 broad tags. That's it.
Just 3. It's wild.
Progressive trance, progressive house, euphoric festival trance.
It is a masterclass in knowing the instrument you are playing. And, in the context of this competition, the instrument is the AI's vast latent space.
I really want to explore that because, honestly, it seems totally counterintuitive to me. Isn't it wild that the absolute best track used the fewest instructions?
Goes against everything we assume about prompting, yeah.
It's like hiring a world-class orchestra, and instead of handing them meticulously notated sheet music for every single instrument, every swell and every rest, you just stand at the podium, say, play something heartbreaking, and you trust their expertise.
That's a really beautiful analogy.
But how does that work? How does letting go of the steering wheel actually give them more emotional impact?
This raises an important question about the mechanics of generative AI and how these models actually understand music.
Okay, I'm listening.
To grasp what Duni did, you have to understand the concept of a latent space. Imagine a multidimensional mathematical map that contains every piece of music the AI was ever trained on.
Every single song.
Every genre, every emotional swell, every tiny synth patch lives somewhere in that massive landscape.
Okay, so it's basically a giant invisible map of musical DNA.
Precisely. Now, when an artist overprompts, giving the AI dozens of specific instructions, they are forcing the engine to constantly navigate tiny, jagged paths across that map to hit every single constraint.
Ah, I see.
The AI has to shift parameters rapidly to meet contradictory demands. You get exactly the technical elements you asked for, but the result can feel disjointed or micromanaged.
Because it's too busy checking off boxes to let the music actually breathe.
Exactly. But when Duni used just 3 broad, powerful tags, progressive trance, euphoric festival trance, they stepped back. They gave the AI a general destination in the latent space and allowed the model to follow the natural flowing contours of that landscape.
That takes a lot of trust in the engine.
It does. But the AI has learned the underlying physics of emotional tension and release from decades of electronic music data. By not crowding the prompt, Duni allowed the AI to take full control of the macro dynamics.
And the macro dynamics of progressive trance are uniquely suited for this theme.
Oh, without a doubt.
The genre is literally defined by its emotional arc. It starts small, builds slowly, introduces layers, swells until it feels like your heart is going to just break, and then it drops into this massive euphoric release.
It's a journey.
The structure of the genre perfectly mirrors the emotional weight of a permanent suffering.
It really does. And Duni's choice to step back and let the AI build that uninterrupted swell aligns perfectly with their psychological architecture for moving on.
Yeah, comparing it to the others is fascinating.
Right, like if Trippy Trek fought the departure with organic spite, and Crow tried to hack reality to escape it, Duni, well, Duni simply surrenders to it.
It's a bittersweet euphoric surrender. The lyrics here don't fight the departure at all. There is no anger, and there is no attempt to build a portal to a different timeline.
No escape pods here.
None. The lyrical analysis of this track reveals pure, devastating acceptance. Quote, "I was your shelter, you were my storm. Now I dance on the graves where we were torn."
That imagery of dancing on the graves.
Yeah, they are acknowledging the destruction, literally dancing on the graves, but there is an incredible grace to it.
It is arguably the hardest architectural choice to make when processing a massive life change.
Surrendering to it.
Yeah. Not building a wall, not running away, but simply standing at the edge of the change and just letting it wash over you entirely.
The lyrics also acknowledge the profound closeness they once shared. Quote, "We crossed the line, you were mine, once upon a time."
It's like a fairy tale that ended.
Exactly. But they aren't trying to rewrite the ending or pull the person back from the edge. They are purely witnessing the departure.
Witnessing is the perfect word for it.
The outro lyrics repeat this image over and over. Quote, "Now I'm here, watching you enter the void. Watching you enter the void."
They aren't jumping in after them.
No, they aren't jumping into the void after them. They aren't trying to pull them back to safety. And they certainly aren't building a wall to block the view of the void either.
Right.
They are standing perfectly still on the edge, while this massive, euphoric trance music swells all around them, accepting that this person is walking into the unknown and they are not following.
It captures the central thesis of psychedelic architecture so perfectly. Duni used the generative AI to build an open-air monument to irreversible loss.
An open-air monument. Wow.
The restraint in their prompt engineering directly mirrors the restraint in their emotional response. They aren't fighting the reality of the situation at all.
No, they're just allowing themselves to feel the entirety of the grief.
And the AI delivered a sweeping, flawless track that somehow makes that painful surrender sound like an absolute triumph.
It really is a triumph. Looking at the master document, it's just incredible to see 3 completely different ways to use the exact same technology to build a space for the human heart to process change.
The diversity in the approaches is the best part of this deep dive.
For sure. We traveled from a grounded, botanical fortress of organic spite into a hypersensory digital wormhole designed to hack linear time, and finally arrived at a sprawling open sky of euphoric surrender.
It is a powerful reminder that the technology itself is neutral. The latent space is really just a mathematical map.
The AI engine is only as profound as the human intention driving it.
Exactly. These 3 artists aren't just generating synthetic music, they are coding complex emotional survival strategies into audio waves.
Coding emotional survival strategies, I think that is the absolute perfect way to encapsulate this entire deep dive.
I think so too.
Which leaves you, the listener, with a final thought to mull over as we wrap up today's analysis. Think about the massive shifts in your own life.
The toxic departures, the sudden changes, the severed ties.
Right. If you had to design your own psychedelic architecture to process a major life change, what would your structural blueprint look like?
It's a heavy question.
It is. When the loss hits, would you build an impenetrable organic wall to protect your peace? Would you try to open a high-speed digital wormhole to bypass the timeline of your pain? Or could you find the strength to utilize radical restraint, stand still, let the music swell, and learn to dance on the edge of the void?
A vital question, and one that these artists have given us beautiful sonic blueprints to help answer.
Thank you for listening to Hellcat's King of the Hill podcast. Make sure to check the description to hear the full tracks and join the server if you want to play in King of the Hill.